Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 6A, and it is August. It is August 1st, which means this is officially the first garden tour of August, garden walk, whatever I'm going to call these from now on. I don't know. Just my rambling thoughts of the garden as I walk through it. I like to do these videos just so I have a record of how the garden is developing throughout the season so that I can go back and look at it later. I was actually notified by YouTube this past week that this is the third year. Well, technically, I'm starting in on the fourth year. I've been on YouTube with this garden for 3 years now, so I have a few garden rambles here and there where I like to look back and just see where things were at certain points of the year. I will say that this week has been really weird weather-wise. We had extreme heats and then we had a lot of rain. We were actually in some flash flood warnings, and I did have to do a little bit of maintenance because some things had gone a little wonky because of how everything was going, but I do think she's beautiful right now. It's been a bit since I've taken you to this back corner. We've got this dwarf tomato that's doing pretty well, but that marigold, I just need to pull it out and try something else there. I did start some spinach in these pots over here. You can see maybe one coming up, but between the heat and these pots getting flooded with rainwater, I don't know if anything is really going to come up. I've kind of given up on the okra. I don't think I'm going to have okra this year. I'll try again next year. It's just one of those things. Sometimes you get a crop, sometimes you don't. And these are my second round of sunflowers. Something is eating the heck out of these ones, and I don't know what it is, unfortunately. We are still getting quite a few strawberries. You can see some of the red in there that I'm gonna have to go in and I'm gonna have to harvest. Ignore the weeds. I don't know if this tree in particular had any peaches growing on it. I think it might have had one. I'll have to go and dig through and try to find it. But we are nearing the time where these peach trees, I have I think a grand total of 3 peaches this year. So, woo, it's better than last year. I did want to show you these though. See if I can. Those are volunteer cowpeas. They are the pink-eyed. So I will be getting some there, it looks like. And this is my white pumpkin. Still doing okay. Haven't found any fruit yet. And then we have the orange pumpkin, which I have found a fruit, but I have to go to the other side to show you, unfortunately. And then all these ground cherries. Now you see the husk on the ground. Those are actually all empty. So I'm just gonna let those compost in place, but I have been harvesting a few handfuls here and there when I find any of those husks that actually have fruit in it. But here is where we have the biggest difference. Right there used to be the candy roaster. And through the trellis, you can see, I think, you see it right about there? I'm hoping you can kind of see it. I don't know if I can get any closer than that. Maybe if I come in through here. Right there is one of the orange pumpkins. It's the only one I've found so far. Ooh, it smells like dill over here and it's delicious. I had to go into emergency maintenance mode yesterday because that big candy roaster that I had shown on the garden tour a couple of times, I had moved it around because the vine was starting to die. I was hoping that it would ripen, but it was starting to be eaten by roly-polies, so I pulled the whole vine because the vine was dying off, and I pulled all the fruit that I could find. Half of it was already being decimated by roly-polies. I did get maybe like 3.5 actual candy roasters off of it. Some of them are in different stages of ripeness than others. They're not fully ripened by any means. They're still usable. They're not as sweet as they could be. I did roast one of them last night, and it wasn't that pure pumpkin butternut squash sweetness that I really, really wanted, but it still had a touch of sweetness to it, so it was okay. But I was really hoping that I could get those to fully ripen. Unfortunately, with that vine dying, I'm not sure what took it out. I'm guessing it was vine borers. And the other pink banana plant isn't developing at all. It's still only about a foot tall, so I don't know if I'm gonna get any of the big squashes this year, but yeah, so this spot is empty now, and I'm thinking about just putting some cowpeas here to help amend the soil and maybe get some more. Haven't decided yet. But I guess since we are over here and we're talking about squash, I can show you that some of the squash is starting to make it all the way through over here. I have been finding honey patch squash, which is a variety of honey nut. I do have some cucumbers that I have managed to somehow find in this mess. And I have one ecote green squash that I have harvested. I haven't cut it open yet, but it looked like it was ready. I'm not sure, it's the first year I've grown it. But you can kind of see some more squashes over there. Let's walk around. I can show you these tomatoes, which I think I have a hornworm somewhere that I need to find. If the birds haven't eaten it yet, I need to come out here with a black light. There's a couple plants where I've noticed things have been stripped, but nothing fully. But these are the peppers, just waiting for them to ripen. And surprisingly, the potatoes haven't flowered yet, and they don't look like they're dying back, but I could probably pull out a few and use them if I wanted to. But the real reason I wanted to come over here, if I can step through this without falling over, is these guys right here. For the life of me, I can't remember how to say these guys. I always call them cronuts. It's not what they are, but they've got similar letters in their name. Those are on a vine that's starting to die, which is why I think they're ripening the way they are. I'm gonna see if they're still okay. The second they get slightly squishy though, I'm like cutting them off and pulling that vine. But I'm watching those. There's so many bees over here. Love it. But we are starting to get some sweet peppers. Look at these. These are orange lessias. I am so excited about that. I harvested the first like full-sized bell pepper. It's not a giant bell. It's one of those snacking style bells. It was a snowball. But I'm excited to start getting those. But yeah, we're starting to get some dieback on these ones as well, which is why I harvested the ayote squash, which was right about here. But these vines are fully going that way. They're just happy to do so. Now I just have to find a way to get you back to the other stuff. I guess I can just take you on a quick jaunt this way. Can look at everything again. I've given up doing any heavy pruning on any of these tomato plants. At this point, I'm letting them do what they're gonna do unless they start to hinder other plants, and then I'll see, like this is about to go into the yard, and that'll probably cut back. Will I know what I'm actually harvesting while I'm harvesting? Probably not, but you know, sometimes that is the adventure of it all. I did have to pull up this tomato plant though. It was the penny lane. It wasn't doing good. I don't think it was getting enough water in the spot it was. And then I had a weed that had kind of started choking it out. So I think it was stealing nutrients from it. But these are the tomatoes. Looks like I need to do some heavy pruning here because we're starting to get a little bit of disease. Walk you this way. This trellis is obviously not holding up the tomatoes like at all. It's just becoming a bush, which fine. I don't mind. I'm not really getting a lot of tomatoes yet, but I'm seeing a lot of green fruit and I'm waiting for all of it to ripen, which is exciting. There are a few plants here and there that aren't doing nearly as well as others, but I think I'll still get a somewhat decent tomato harvest. Oh, and these ones are starting to rot. Ugh, okay. I think I might remove this plant. I don't, I'm not liking what's happening in this bed in general. I don't think I'm gonna get any fruits off of any of the other plants, if I'm honest. The basil's happy. I've kind of just let it do its thing because it's one of the few things in this bed that's doing okay. And here's another thing that I'm not so sure about right now. I did go through and do some bush beans in this bed, but much like the spinach, I haven't seen a lot of activity yet, unfortunately. So I don't know, between the heat wave and then the torrential downpour, if any of these will actually come up. And this is the other bed where I don't know if I'm actually gonna get any of the fruit off of these guys because everything is just dying from the bottom of the fruit. On nearly all of these plants, and they're not really filling in very well. It does look like I've got a few zucchini in there that I need to harvest. And then I only have a couple of garlic left in here, but with the way the zucchini have flopped over onto the side of the bed, I don't know if I'm going to plant anything in this bed right away. I might do some radishes later, but we'll see. Otherwise, we have the eggplant, this dwarf tomato, my bunching onions. Oh, hey, aren't you gorgeous? I'm just gonna stand here and watch you. So this is why I have not pulled out any of my blooming carrots. It's not necessarily hurting any of the other carrots around it, and it is attracting pollinators to the garden. So I've just kind of let whatever wants to go to flower in this bed go to flower. I have started harvesting a few carrots here and there out of this bed. Oh, she is just happy to be there. Ah, that makes me happy. But yeah, that's the carrot bed. I'm just gonna continue to watch her. You don't need to see the rest of the garden, right? We can just hang out with this pretty lady. Okay, I'm gonna leave her alone. I did want to point out that there is a grape there and a grape there. They are plants that I had ordered already growing rather than the bare roots. And so I removed the bare roots that were there, and I now have these guys. These, I believe, are Somerset grapes. They're another seedless variety. What had been where these two were the Concord seedless. The Marquise are the sticks that are still in the ground. I'm gonna leave them, but I may also next year see if there's another variety that I can replace it with if that doesn't wake up. I think it might just be a stick in the ground at this point. But so far I haven't found another seedless grape that comes already as a plant, a potted plant rather than a bare root. That might be next year's adventure. But the other grapes, what variety are you? Do I remember? I think it's the, oh my goodness, Reliance, that are really starting to climb. And I love that. But I suppose we shall go see everything down by the deck. You can kind of see my zinnias over there that are getting bigger. Some of them are starting to get blooms. So honestly, there isn't a lot of new to see over here, besides the fact that we're starting to get some more peppers, and the tomato plants are really starting to come in. The beans are starting to climb. Still haven't harvested the rest of the beets. They're starting to get a decent size, but not quite where I want them to be. We just have this cabbage. I'm just letting it go. Probably not gonna harvest anything off of it, but I'm happy to see it there. And the wind keeps whipping this poblano and this tomato plant around a little bit. They've cracked a few branches here and there, but I think they're doing okay. It's this squash right here. This is an angel hair spaghetti squash that looks magnificent. It's probably going to choke out all of the spinach and the tomato plant right there, but that's okay. I'm just excited that the squash is actually surviving. It took a while for it to start thriving, and you can kind of see a little bit of spinach that's doing okay. The spinach in the back probably needs to be pulled, but that bed looks so bare without anything in it that I couldn't bring myself to pull that spinach. Otherwise, we have this peach tree, and like I said, I have a few peaches. I think I've got like 2 peaches on this tree that at some point, it's got a little while left. But yeah, that is pretty much the garden as it stands right now, and that is the pink banana I was telling you about. But yeah. So I know that was a little bit chaotic. My brain's going 17 different directions at once, but I do hope you enjoyed seeing where everything is at right now. I am in chaotic preservation mode right now, trying to make sure that I don't lose things and I use things and I save things as it's coming out of the garden, because this is definitely more than my family can eat, and so I'm starting to share the love at this point. But if you would like to see my garden as it continues to grow, feel free to subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all of the notifications. I do like to try and do these garden walkthroughs at least once a week, just so I have the record of it. But I do have an Instagram and Threads account where I am posting produce as it's coming out of the garden and what I'm doing with it, how I'm preserving it, and that kind of stuff. So you could check that out over there as well, if you would like. Otherwise, I hope I will see you guys again in another video, and I heart your beautiful faces.